Welcome to Storehouse of the Heart. I'm your host, Kim Wilson. Here at Storehouse, we write, read, investigate, think, and examine Scripture together. This week, we're wrapping up our time together in Hebrews 11, week 33 of our 52-week challenge. I'm glad you're here with me today. Let's read our verse together in the NIV translation. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. So I hope you had time to engage the process. And don't worry, there is still plenty of time today or maybe this weekend to go through each of the steps. Here are some of the attributes of God that stood out to me as I studied this week. First of all, that God is our creator, that God made everything, He is uncreated. I was also reminded this week of God's holiness. God is holy, God is perfect and pure and without sin. And God is merciful. God does not give his children the punishment they deserve. And also wanted to share this attribute of God. God is truthful. Whatever God speaks or does is truth and reality. So, two of the words that really stood out to me this week were confidence and assurance. Sometimes when I'm going through the process, I like to look up the meaning of words, even if they seem familiar to me. And this week, I did that with these two words, confidence and assurance. Here are some definitions for those I found on dictionary.com. Confidence, full trust, belief in the powers, trustworthiness, or reliability of a person or thing. And assurance, a positive declaration intended to give confidence. And one more simple definition from dictionary.com is the definition for the word faith: confidence or trust in a person or thing. And what sets believers apart is that our confidence, our trust, our expectations, our hope are all in God. So we live a God-centered life. And because we live a God-centered life, that affects every part of a believer's life. The way we think, the way we act, the way we feel, the actions and the attitudes that we have. It affects our confidence. And we don't have a confidence in and of ourselves, but we have a confidence in God. And so this week, my takeaways were these things. We are, as believers, we are confident in God's existence. As believers, we are confident in God's character and we are assured of God's promises. So, the first thing that I noticed is that believers are confident that God exists. We're going to zoom out a little bit and read Hebrews 11, 1 through 3 together. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. So, by faith, we believe that God is our creator. Let's think back to Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And I thought about this verse, Jeremiah 10:12. But God made the earth by his power. He founded the world by his wisdom, and he stretched out the heavens by his understanding. And a little later on in our passage, Hebrews 11:6 tells us, and without faith, it's impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. The second thing I thought of this week that I shared earlier is that believers are confident in God's character. We take God at his word. God reveals himself to us throughout scripture through his names and in the person of Christ. John 1:14 reminds us, the word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Colossians 1:15, the Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. Isaiah 9:6, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And Hebrews 1:3, which reminds us the Son is the radiance of God's glory and the exact representation of his being, sustaining all things by his powerful word. After he provided purification for sins, he sat down at the right hand of the Majesty in heaven. God's character is revealed to us through his son, Jesus Christ. That is something we believe. That brings us great confidence in God's love for us. And we are also assured of God's promises for us as believers. We have assurance through Christ's sacrifice that we have been cleansed and we have been made holy. Hebrews 10:10. And by that will we have been made holy through the sacrifice of the body of Jesus Christ once and for all. We live assured of God's mercy and grace that sing over our life. Hebrews 4:16. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. And we have assurance of our salvation. Hebrews 9:28. So Christ was sacrificed once to take away the sins of many, and he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who are waiting for him. We live by faith, believing in the Son of God, and that affects every part of our lives, our actions and our attitudes, our thoughts and our intentions. It gives us great confidence and assurance. I pray that you're blessed this week and encouraged by the reading of the word. And I'm praying that you have a wonderful weekend. I'm going to put next week's scripture at the end of the video, and Lord willing, I'll see you then.